Hello, good evening, and thank you, and welcome to the Tibetan Buddhist Society Canberra's Thursday night teachings. And during this term, we have the topic on the precious qualities of three jewels. So we're going to continue. This is the second last session. So before we start, we will do the refuge and generation of the right motivation in listening to this teaching either in live or subsequently. Many seem to watch on YouTube and Facebook later on. So please, in any case, don't do it casually, because every intention that you generate for whatever good activities, they can be done to transform neutral activities into positive activities. So if one just casually watching, it looks like very neutral. So in order to prevent it from remaining neutral and ineffective, it's important the motivation is generated. So it's for this reason and reminder we're doing these prayers to start with. Oyenda Buddha Dharma Asanga Aitere Vita Lightame Bhavacha Ajendala Ajare Vada Endabu Adama Zanga Aitere Ladama Bhavacha Ajandala Ajare Padavadruve Endabu Adama Zanga Aitere Ladama Bhavacha Ajandala Ajare Padavadruve. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and cause of suffering. May they know apart from happiness that know no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion of those near and far. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they know apart from happiness that know no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion of those near and far. May all beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they know apart from happiness that know no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion of those near and far. According to the intelligence and bread possession of every Dharma agrelo and come go. So we're going to focus tonight and next session on the qualities of the gem of the sangha. We have covered a little bit on the infinite qualities of the Buddha gem and the Dharma gem. The Buddha is the fully enlightened one. Dharma is the teaching and practice taught by the Buddha gem, which, if practiced properly, individuals, like anyone, can attain liberation. And if they gain certain heights of liberation, they become, what we call Sangharatna. Sangharatna means precious gem of the Sangha. So first we have to define what constitutes Sangha, and what is, because Sangha, it means noble assembly. The noble assembly doesn't refer to an individual Sangha member. Individual Sangha member, whether it is lay upasaka or female upasaka or novice or fully ordained monk or nun, they're all individual. They're all individual sangha member. They are not sangha. But sangha therefore has to be four members of ordained and all the other, preferably all fully ordained sangha members, together with novice and lay male and lay female. So that would be the what we call noble. That would be noble sangha. But the sangha ratna, the precious gem sangha, is not for members of sangha. Precious what we call sangha ratna, which are the objects of refuge, is the what we call relative objects of refuge and ultimate objects of refuge. Relatively, we can regard our ordained sanghas and community of them are as a relative objects of refuge, but actually they are not objects of refuge. Objects of refuge is to become Sangharatna, the Sangha member, whether layman or laywoman or novice or fully ordained monk or nun, one who has reached the path of normal learning, then they become the Sangha gem in the three Sangha Ratna, because they become, basically they have become only second to the Buddha. They already have reached path of seeing, path of meditation, path of normal learning. So what we call the Sangha Ratna is necessarily individual who have reached path of seeing and path of meditation and path of normal learning. So what we sometimes call the noble truth of path and noble truth of cessation. Any sangha member who have achieved the path of seeing and higher becomes a Sangharatna. So we will look at the qualities of the Sangharatna, so that then it will be very clear how precious and rare they are. And this is based on Asanga's writing in the Uttara-tantra, where he gives the 8 qualities of the Sangharatna. When we say the 8 qualities of Sangharatna, these are constituting 2, the knowledge qualities and liberation qualities. Knowledge means is the understanding and realization of the qualities, and liberation means they have gone beyond the problems themselves. So therefore these 4 sets of two sets of 4 qualities the Sangha Ratna possess. First is the 8 4 what do we call 4 knowledge qualities of knowledge, 4 qualities of knowledge, and then second is 4 qualities of liberation, what we call Rik Dol in Buddhism. Rik means the one who knows, one who realizes, and one who understands, one who has experienced the result. And the liberation is as a result of this knowledge. They are implementing the knowledge, as in so doing they are liberated. So let us go through these 8 qualities. Although it's mentioned 8 qualities, actually 6 qualities, because the first 3 are named knowledge qualities, second 3 are called liberation qualities. So the first is knowledge qualities. First knowledge is knowledge of knowing things as they are in the ultimate sense. So that means realization of emptiness. This is not conceptual or intellectual knowledge of emptiness. These are those who have actually realized the ultimate truth. Ultimate truth, that means emptiness. They have to have realized emptiness. Not just know emptiness, not just academically know emptiness, but they have to have realized the emptiness. They know the ultimate nature of all phenomena as they are. So they have to be path of seeing, path of meditation, and almost reaching to the path of normal learning. But they could still be below path of normal learning, but path of meditation. So that they will have that an understanding of emptiness, because understanding of emptiness already starts on the path of seeing, So these practitioners on sangha members who are who are on the path of accumulation, path of preparations, they are not Sangharatna. Sangharatna means they are not the actual objects of refuge. Objects of refuge must have the realization of ultimate truth, the emptiness. That's the first one. That's the knowledge of ultimate truth. Second is knowledge of relative truth. Knowledge of relative truth, that means they have the ability to see the they have the knowledge to see the relative reality of all situations in every given situation, and because of that they have this incredible unbiased awareness of how every sentient being on different levels see things from their aspect point of view, and so therefore they have the relative knowledge of the relative reality that all deluded and unrealized sentient beings go through under the sway of each and every one of their karma and affliction and whatnot. So therefore, they have these. They have the ability to see the relative nature of all sentient beings. So they have, and therefore they develop great compassion to each and every sentient being's individual sets of situations. So that's the core. So second knowledge is knowledge of the relative truth of all phenomena, and the third one is the awareness, is the knowledge of the existence of the Tathagata Garbha, meaning Buddha nature, that every sentient being is endowed. So they can see, they know that every sentient being endows Tathagata Garbha, or Buddha nature. That means they are able to read the mind and the capacity of every sentient being. No matter how different each and every sentient being may suffer or may fare on the surface of their relative reality, they do not discriminate any sentient being, because they all equally possess the Buddha nature. Because of that, they see the intrinsic purity of the Buddha nature of all sentient beings directly. Because of that, they have always a very pure perception of the sentient beings, in spite of their relative difference that it may appear. So these four what we call these three knowledges. These three knowledges are called the knowledge. So these are knowledge of the Sangharatna. Sangharatna has these three knowledge: ultimate truth, relative truth, and an existence of the pure Buddha nature in the mind of all sentient beings. So you can see the quality of a sangha is he or she in the state of that realization, a path of meditation, path of normal, path of I would say path of meditation, rather, path of seeing and path of meditation. Sangharatna has to necessarily be above path of seeing and somewhere on the path of meditation. But the question arises, when is it possible that Sangharatna becomes Buddharatna? So precious gem of the Buddha, Sangha gem, does the Sangha gem become Buddha gem? Yes. When the Sangharatna achieves the path of normal learning. When the Sangharatna realizes path of normal learning, that means the fifth path. So fifth path. Then the Sangharatna himself become Buddha gem. Like Shakyamuni Buddha. Shakyamuni Buddha is both Buddha gem as well as Sangha gem, as well as his realization is Dharma gem. So Buddha is the embodiment of the Buddha gem, Dharma gem, and as well as Sangha gem. And this means that people on the path of seeing onwards can achieve the role of Buddha gem. That means that otherwise we wouldn't be aiming to attain the Buddhahood, would we? Because if there was a bottleneck, then nobody can become Buddha. Then of course we wouldn't say, I will practice this until attaining enlightenment. So when you attain enlightenment, the one who attained enlightenment, path of normal learning, also become sangha gem. Yeah. So therefore, this question whether one can be a Buddha gem as well as Sangha gem. Yes, you are both Buddha gem, Dharma gem, as well as Sangha gem. when you attend the why the form is the Sangha, his knowledge is the Dharma, his mind is the Buddha. So therefore the qualities of the Sangha is omniscient. Some qualities of Sangha gem who has reached the path of normal learning is the Buddha gem as well. But here we are talking about Sangha who are not achieved Buddha gem yet, but who has only achieved the path of seeing and path of meditation. So those on the path of seeing and path of meditation are what we call the path of noble truth of path and noble truth of cessation. It's just a question of how much liberation they have to do. So that's the first four. So basically, first, second, and third are all collectively called the Sangha Ratna's quality of the knowledge. And then the fifth, sixth, and seventh qualities are qualities of liberation. Quality of liberation. So fifth is called quality of the liberation from the obscuration of attachment, desire, and afflictions. So the Sangha Ratna, one who has become Sangha Ratna means through his meditation on the path of seeing and the path of meditation, he has completely eradicated desire, attachment, and all kinds of afflictions. So therefore he has the quality of liberation from attachment and craving and clinging, and all gross afflictions are eradicated. So therefore he is liberated from the afflictions. So that's the first of the three liberation. Second is the quality of being liberated from the obstructive cognitive obscuration. So cognitive obscuration is knowledge obscurations. So there is no grasping. He does not grasp nirvana as truly existent, and so therefore there is no obstruction by thinking the object what one has achieved is truly existing. So there is no knowledge of grasping to the object as truly existing, including nirvana. So that's why it is called the qualities of the liberation from the attachment. So no attachment even to the result. No attachment even to the result. So these two liberations are liberation from affliction and liberation from cognitive obscuration. Usually we call them two obscuration, don't we? Gross obscuration of affliction, the karma, a subtle obscuration of the knowledge. Now the third liberation is a meditative quality of liberation from meditative, I would say meditative obscuration. So these meditative obscurations are basically all obscuration and faults and impediments are related to meditative concentration. From the Mahayana point of view, that it says that one has to be totally free from, one has to have the liberative qualities of liberation from self-cherishing. So there is no self-cherishing. There's qualities of liberation from the self-cherishing. So until you reach this seventh quality of Sangha, you still have still have clinging and grasping towards self. So this one is, and this is then eradicated by the eradicates all the meditative obscuration. So hence the eighth one is the qualities of the fifth, sixth, and seventh combined is called quality of liberation. Quality of liberation. So liberated from one who is no longer subject to be reborn in samsara, and so therefore he is completely liberated from karma and affliction. Now the question is whether the sangha who has reached the path of meditation, how long will it take for him to achieve path of normal learning? When the sangha ratna achieves these 8 qualities, then it's just question of how soon he will attain Buddhahood. If he achieves Buddhahood, Sangha Ratna and Buddha Ratna and Dharma Ratna, all the three qualities of 3 precious gems are combined into one, like the one who achieved the state of Buddhahood. So that's why when people took refuge in the Shakyamuni Buddha, when they met, Buddha is the Buddha gem, his teaching is the Dharma gem, and Buddha is also Sangha gem because he has realized path of seeing and path of meditation. So therefore, Sangha gem, when we refer to Sangha gem doesn't need to be for monastics, you know. So when we talk about conventional Sangha, it has to be at least 4 members of Sangha is a relative community of Sangha. But the Sangha and Sangha Ratna has to be distinguished. Yeah? When you achieve the Sangha Ratna, it could be a Upasaka who could be Sangha Ratna. If he or she, the Upasaka or Upasika, or layman or laywoman can achieve path of meditation beyond path of normal learning. Yeah, if one achieves path of normal learning, then even as a upasaka you are Sangharatna, let alone as a novice achieving path of normal learning is also Sangharatna. And of course, fully ordained monk or fully ordained nun, if they achieve path of normal learning, they also is both Sangharatna as well as Buddharatna. So we have to know the Sangha and Sangharatna has to be distinguished. So when we are talking about the qualities of 3 gems, we are talking about the Buddha Ratna, Dharma Ratna, Sangha Ratna. So the Sangha that we usually, in conventional Sangha member, is only a Sangha member, but only relative one. If they have achieved any of the 3 knowledges and for 3 liberations, then they will be regarded as a object of refuge. Yeah? Nevertheless, in a conventional world of ours, anyone who has taken robes and taken the vows is treated with as much as respect. Therefore, they say one is worthy of veneration, one is worthy of receiving gifts, because the person is adhering and adopting to become with the aim of becoming Sangharatna. Yeah, Sangharatna. So they may not yet have realized path of seeing or path of meditation, but nevertheless, in a conventional we say the Sangha member, every Sangha member is worthy of hospitality, worthy of reverence, worthy of respect, and anyone who have gone for refuge must show the respect to fellow Sangha. Each fellow Sangha member, whether they are fully ordained or novice or even lay upasaka to each other, we should show the incredible respect towards each other as special Dharma Sangha brother and sister. So that kind of one who's worthy of receiving your hospitality, one who's worthy of giving gifts, and one who's worthy of reverence, and who live in harmony, who live always patiently, and who live always straightforward, and who is never who unless their obscurations are are thick and heavy karma ripens, they would not do anything contrary to the precepts of their undertaking. So we, as much as we try to show respect to each other, every other Sangha member towards each other, they have the quality of treating as Sangha member. Because they are fellow practitioners who have entered refuge, when one shows respect to the other, when one extends hospitality to the other, when one extends reverence to the other, then the other one also say, oh, how wonderful a Sangha member is, so kind and so courteous, so hospitable, so patient, so generous, so kind. When these are the quality of Sangha, one must behave. One must behave how one expects other Sangha to be worthy of our reverence, our responsibility, our reverence. We must also show that to others, assuming they deserve, they have those qualities. Therefore, the Sangha has a quality of implanting mutual respect. And of course, when the Sangha members are ordained, that it's easy to notice. Easier to notice. They're wearing robes, they're shaven, and they usually have adopted some sets of discipline that becomes quite easy to recognize that they are living a life of simplicity, and have very maybe little sense of ownership, or no plan to hoard or gather wealth, but who live in a fairly basic, simple life and engage most of their time for the practice and study, promotes that to others, then you naturally will have this reverence to those who are able to dedicate full-time dedicated for the study and propagation of Dharma. So therefore, the quality of Sangha is when there is a person who engages such a manner, then it naturally draws the respect, draws the hospitality, draws the generosity, and draws the studiousness from the other. So this is the quality of even conventional Sangha members when they are aspiring, when they are just mere aspirant on the path. They necessarily draw respect, draw generosity, draw tolerance, and they would say, oh, he's Sangha, I wouldn't do that. He's a Sangha, I wouldn't say this to her, or something like that. So we also seem to have the benefit of seeing someone in robes, or seeing someone who's a practitioner. We straight away think of who they are, and therefore we learn to restrain our ungenerous mentality, or impatient mentality, or irreverent mentality, or whatever. It has the quality of changing us by having a Sangha member. So that's why people prefer, I suppose, people like to see some Sangha members who are in robes, because then they can know there is a Sangha. But otherwise, then Sangha are incognito. But if you know they are good upasaka laymen and laywomen, you still should respect that. But if you yourself as an individual has a quality of a Sangha member, then we know that if this intellectually we know that all sentient beings endowed with Buddha nature, no matter how temporal on the surface they may appear to be different, but nevertheless we say, oh, they too have Buddha nature, so I shouldn't sort of treat them with the contempt. So therefore, the quality of Sangha is that it changes our perception. It makes us to behave a little bit differently towards others, knowing they are worthy of my respect, they are worthy of my generosity, they are worthy of my patience more than anybody else, because they are such a practitioner. They give so much time and energy for the Dharma, for the benefit of others. When people are quite willing to offer food, clothing, shelter, and medicine for the Sangha, and they always provide, like in Southeast Asia, whenever a Sangha member arrives, they always bring a toothbrush, and, and towel, and some very very basic, but the things that the sangha members usually wouldn't be carrying with them, with a big toiletry with them, So they always provide toothbrush or towel or something like the basic things that every place they offer. So they may not offer anything riches like gold, and big money or cause like that. But they always offer those basic necessity: food, clothes, shelter, and medicine, like toiletry. All of this, they always provide. They always like to offer. Even though you already have, they say, please take it, because they feel good if they can offer something to the sangha member, and they always wanted to make a connection by being able to offer small requisites to the sangha member, because of the respect they have to the people who have made the Dharma possible for all these years. So with this understanding on the qualities of the Sangha Ratna, I will now focus on how individuals who have become Sangha, not only Sangha member, but they became realized. They actually realize those knowledges and attain those liberations, and then how they became the successor, how they became the body called Sangha. The Sangha means whole excellent community. So if you look at in the life of the Buddha was able to create actually the Sangha Ratna by having many. Some of his disciples became arhat only by listening to the first sermon. Others within 2 weeks. So therefore, let us look at some of the arhats who became the holder of the Dharma. Because even Buddha Ratna passes away, Dharma Ratna doesn't pass away, because Buddha Ratna has taught the Dharma to the Sangha. And those Sangha members who practice the Dharma and attain those knowledges and attain those liberation, therefore they no longer do the suffering and the cause of the suffering. Because they don't do the suffering and the cause of suffering, they themselves really do not suffer as much, except the residues of past karma from past lives. In this life, they don't create new suffering and cause of new sufferings. Because they don't indulge in desire, and because they don't indulge in desire, they have no craving to desire anything. Because they don't have craving due to lack of ignorance, because of that they don't have anger. So you can see how they become how they have the knowledge and liberation. Because of that, they don't do suffering, they don't do attachment, they don't do ignorance, they don't do craving. Because of that, they're liberated from that. Because they are liberated, then they slowly realize they actually are liberated from craving and grasping and attachment. Because of their being liberated, then they are able to attain the path of seeing and the path of meditation. They are in that state. So all the amazing disciples of Buddha, like Shariputra, let's talk about Shariputra and Moggallanaputra. Shariputra actually already saw the truth when he met Aswajit. He didn't even need to see the Buddha, and because people like Shariputra were so sharp intelligence, and he could see the truth of the Dharma, path of the Dharma, noble truth of the path. He realized noble truth of the path. He gained the noble truth of truth of cessation. And then it's a matter of then moving from the path of seeing to a path of meditation once he met the Buddha, So Shariputra is the most intelligent disciple of Buddha, where Buddha himself has offered many praises, saying there is no one like him, like Shariputra, who's so intelligent. Shariputra, who's actually prior to becoming Buddha's disciple, his name is called Upatisya. Upatissa was himself a great kind of a teacher of his own Vedic tradition. He had 500 followers himself, and so did Moggallanaputra. Moggallanaputra and Sariputra were both friends, and both of them had 500 over followers themselves, because they had some kind of spirituality there, but they haven't quite seen the truth yet, until they met Asvajut, and then through that they met the Buddha. So when Moggallanaputra and Shariputra, because Shariputra is the named after his mother's eye. Mother's eye had the eye of the bird Shari. So Putra means son of the lady Shari. So of course prior to his ordination, his name was Upatisya. And he, due to his attainment of arhathood and enlightenment, so you can call arhathood as enlightenment from the Theravadan point of view, he became sangha, Arya Sangha member, Sangharatna, and then was able to do many things Buddha did not have to go to, because once he sent Shariputra, everything happened as much as the Buddha will go, because basically Shariputra has become a very great arhat. And same goes with Moggallanaputra. The Moggallanaputra was very excellent as the most magical. He has amazing spiritual powers to display after he attained the arhathood. Both Shariputra and Moggallanaputra nevertheless predeceased the Buddha. And when Shariputra passed away, then Moggallanaputra passed away 2 weeks later. Neither of these two excellent disciples Buddha, even though they have arhathood, attained arhathood, became his successor, because they both predeceased the Buddha. And then the third noble Sangha member is the Mahakashyapa. Mahakashyapa is the first one to succeed the Buddha. After Buddha passed away, when all the monks were crying, and Buddha said, "Don't cry, you have my precept. You have the Dharma. Because you have the Dharma, therefore you should not lament my passing away. But in fact, my passing away is the teaching that all things are impermanent. And so therefore you should," he gave clear instructions how they should create the Sangha. So that it is Mahakashyapa who actually became the leader to form the Sangha, what is called three Buddhist councils. So he convened the first Buddhist council and gathered all the noble Sanghas, with 500 of them, 499 except one who hadn't attained arhathood, that was Ananda. And they realized that they need 500 arhats to create the council in order to develop the Sangha and hold the Dharma after the passing away of the Lord. So the precious gem or qualities of the Dharma now hinged on the existence of precious gem of the Sangha. And so Mahakashyapa, who became the anointed successor to the Buddha, therefore did the leadership together with Ananda and Upali. And these three are very important, because these three are the three most senior Sangha gem, who became the codifier and who became the compiler of the Vinaya, Sutra, and Abhidharma. Upali the barber. When you become Sangha, when you become ordained Sangha and attain arhathood, even the person from the low caste of a barber became the most venerated. We talk about Sangha is worthy of veneration, worthy of receiving gifts, worthy of hospitality, worthy of patience and tolerance and so on, who lives harmoniously, who lives patiently, who always tolerate the difficulties of others, even though they are extremely wrong, but they still practice tolerance. So all the sanghas have shown these many qualities, and therefore the Upali, who actually got the opportunity to shave Buddha, and then later on he himself became ordained. Upali became the most venerated sangha members, sangha gem, who realized the arhathood. So Upali, though come from the very lowest kind of caste, he became the objects of veneration by likes of Aniruddha and Mahanama and others. Why? Because Buddha said, now you must pay homage, pay respect to Upali, the ex-barber. Why? Because he has attained arhathood and is senior than you, therefore you should respect. And when Buddha gave the counsel or advice to do that, they of course completely obeyed that. And because of the venerability of the sangha qualities of Venerable Upali. So Venerable Upali became the codifier and compiler of the Vinaya Pitaka. So if there was no sangha, there would not have been possible to compile and collect all the Tripitakas. So the fact that we have the Tripitakas or holy Dharma in our possession, in texts and writings and knowledge, is because the Holy Sangha did all the work to compile this. So Venerable Upali did the Vinaya. Venerable Ananda, who is Buddha's cousin, by the way, Buddha had four uncles. Each of his uncles had at least 2-3 sons each, and of whom Ananda is one of them, as well as his brother Devadatta. Let's not talk about Devadatta as a Sangha member, because he's the one who caused schism in the Sangha. so Devadatta is not a kind of a good ideal example of a Sangha member, because he's the one who broke Sangha. He's the one who caused schism and divide the Sangha out of his own jealousy to the Buddha and acrimony. So therefore, Devadatta, although was ordained Sangha, but he was not venerable. He was not cause of harmony. He was exact opposite of all the above. That's why they call Devadatta the Mara. They don't call Devadatta the venerable Devadatta. They hardly use the honorific word venerable. Devadatta the Mara, the evil, they call it. So therefore, those who are exact opposite to Devadatta, those who are tolerant, those who are patient, those who are worthy of respect, those who are insightful, those who are very well mannered, those who live by the spirit of the Vinaya, and those who reach great heights of those for liberation we talked about, and attain arhathood and vipassana, they will realize path of seeing and path of meditation, and they enter into the 4 stages of the arhathood, for entry and for abiding. So this is called 4 entries and 4 abidings. When you do the 4 entries and abidings, then you attain all the 4 stages of the arhathood. When you achieve all the stages of the arhathood, then you become arhat. Arhat is necessarily Sangaratna. So it is said that although you don't need to be a fully ordained monk or nun to realize arhathood, because there were many disciples of Buddha who were lay women and lay men, and whether they had time to ordain or not, quite a lot of them also attain arhathood. When they attain arhathood, they become Sangha Gem. Yeah? So the Sangha Gem and Sangha member and Sangha as a whole is different. So the word Sangha means assemblies. Assembly of good people who believe in the Dharma, including laymen and laywomen, who may not have a lot of realization. They may be still struggling on the path of accumulation. But they are not Sangaratna or Sangha Gem as an object of refuge. So only when a Sangha member, practitioner, becomes a Sangaratna is when he achieves path of seeing and path of meditation. And that's why people like Shariputra, Moggallanaputra, Upali the barber, and Mahakashyapa the great successor, and Ananda the great attendant. And then then also there are many other many other arhat like Katayana and Purna and Buddha's own son Rahula, and Aniruddha, and also Mahanama, and so they are of course. But interesting thing about the list of the 16 arhats or 18 arhats in Chinese and Tibetan Buddhism, they do not. None of the 16 arhats seem to be that much of prominent individuals in the life of the Buddha. Kanakavatsa and Venerable Bharadwaja, and they all feature in the life of the Buddha. His disciples, they all have attained arhathood. So when we look at the qualities of the gem of the sangha, we therefore have to. They are objects of our veneration. They are objects of gratitude, because without their dedicating their life in study, contemplation, listening, and meditation, and observing the discipline, and upholding the discipline, no second generation after Buddha would have received the Buddha Dharma, let alone the third, let alone the fourth, let alone the fifth, let alone even in the second century AD. When we talk about the great luminaries like Nagarjuna, during his time, that's the second century AD, that at least like 600 years after Buddha passed away. 600 years after Buddha passed away, the teaching was so intact to be translated. All the words of the Buddha that Buddha taught only verbally were remembered by these amazing sangha members who had this art of non-forgetfulness. And they remember everything through their power of meditation and freedom from the attachment and grasping, because their mind is not cluttered by any of the afflictions and karmic obscurations. They became like a walking dictionary, for instance. They became the repository of all the teachings that Buddha gave. So the good 400-500 years after Buddha passed away, until 2nd century, the whole teachings of the Buddha, Buddha Vajana, and the Shastras all remained as oral lineage. The orality of the lineage and why they are so reliable is due to the excellent qualities of the Sangha members and Sangharatna members who has reached great sense of knowledge and the liberations. Because the mind is so available, so free, they are never time poor to do Dharma, and they are never time poor to do the meditation. They never time poor to do the study. They never time poor to forget the teachings. Because of that, the excellent precious gem of the Sangha Ratna individuals have passed his entire knowledge. For instance, firstly, Mahakashyapa, he gave it to Ananda. Ananda gave his teaching to Shanavasti. Then Shanavasti gave it to Venerable Upagupta. Venerable Upagupta became teacher of King Ashoka. And Venerable Upagupta gave it to the Venerable Didika. And Venerable Didika gave it to the Venerable Sudarshana. And Venerable Sudarshana gave it to Venerable Kanha. So in this way, there were 7 patriarchs who all gave one to the other oral lineage. So basically oral lineage. So the qualities of the Sangha is incredible, because without the Sangha, which we call lineage in Tibetan Buddhism, without the Sangha, the lineage would not exist. Lineage would not exist. Lineage of the knowledge, lineage of the stories, lineage of the various parables, lineage of the experience, lineage of the understanding on the interpretations of the teachings. All of that would have been, no matter how great the Dharma is taught by the Buddha, how do we know the Dharma exists without the Sangha? So the quality of the sangha is so great that when Dharma went to some countries like to China or Japan or later to Tibet, they regarded those luminaries, those towering figures like Xuanzang in China and Hunan in Vietnam, and no doubt other similar sanghas in Korea and others. Like in Tibet, if he didn't have the great Shantarakshita, who is the last Indian, not the last, but first Indian to come to Tibet, to break the ground of the Tibetan soil, to bring the Dharma and ordain Tibetans. So had the likes of Shantarakshita, Atisha, and Gayadhara, and you name it, all the great Indian Panditas and Mahasiddhas, if they did not exist, all these voluminous teachings of the Dharma would never been translated, would never been taught. So therefore the precious gem of the Sangha in Tibetan Buddhism is highly respected in the form of Guru. So even Guru is not really precious gem of the Guru, is embodiment of the Sangha, embodiment of Dharma, embodiment of Buddha. That's why in Guru Yoga we call the Guru is the Buddha, Guru is the Dharma, Guru is the Sangha. So if we don't have likes of Padmasambhava, likes of Sachin Kunga Nyingbo, likes of Tsongkhapa and Longchenpa, and all those great towering figures that came in Tibet, we definitely would not know the existence of the Dharma, its history, its teachings. Like many countries, they are so materialistic. They don't want nothing to do with spirituality, and they don't have any culture of spirituality left. Wherever this living Sangha has existed, in Sri Lanka for instance, and even though it has its own upheavals, and to the extent of them having to revive their Sangha by inviting Sangha from Burma and so on. If you really look at the history of the Buddhism in Sri Lanka, it has never been always plain sailing, you know. It had went through very tough times of near kind of extinction, but then they revived that by inviting Sangha or lineage living in Burma or Thailand, or I'm not exactly sure whether Thailand played more role than Burma. But Burma, for one of the countries, seemed to have remained relatively intact. And even in Thai, there were a lot of upheavals. But when you look at it, however many upheavals, there were some individual Sangha members one kept. Like in Tibet, in the middle of the 10th century, Dharma has been there nearly 150 years, but it suffered a setback. Then Lama Changchubu and his uncle Lama Yeshewa, who were both the kind of belonged to the Tibetan royal family, seeing the plight of Buddhism being almost near extinction by the evil king of Lang Dharma, and they deliberately, then both uncle and nephew became monk, and they sponsored all 25 youth, Tibetan youth, go to India, study Dharma again. And those days, thankfully, Dharma still existed in India, at least in Kashmir. And so they went, people like Lotsawa Rinchen Sangpo and many young Tibetan boys went there and studied, you know. So without the precious work of selfless Sangha members, you would not have precious Dharma. And precious Buddha would not be known by people. There may be many rock Buddhas carved here and there, but nobody will talk of the teachings. They probably deface the statues, cut their head, like the Muslims did that. If the Sangha did not exist, Dharma does not, and the Dharma does not exist, then how could anybody can achieve peace and liberation and attain Buddhahood? So that's why sometimes I have always looked at why we have so much emphasis in Guru devotion in Tibetan Buddhism is because they value the Sangha so much. And those gurus who are leaders of different lineages and traditions, they actually shoulder the education, study, meditation, food, clothes, medicine. Every hundreds and thousands of the monks looked after. Like, for instance, the present head of the Karmakagyu, Karmapa. Even though Karmapa himself is a little controversy here and there due to his political being a political pawn, but he is the sole provider of many Karmakagyu monasteries and their monks' education, food, clothes, medicine, and so therefore the devotion that we have to our gurus is our gurus provide the education, the food. Look at late Lama Zopa Rinpoche. If you heard of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, if you look at that, how much he has devoted his time and his activities to not only not only look after the few hundred monks and nuns within his own place in Kopan, but whoever came to his place and requested for a cause, he always treated them as another cause of his. And he empowered them. He sponsored the Sera, a big monastery down in South India, Sera, at least Sera J, or maybe Sera May also, I don't know. Because in those big monasteries, they're so big, they have so many divisions. Sometimes they are more of a different tradition than same tradition. Anyway, there's talk about how Lama Zopa, who's revered by thousands of followers in the West as their guru, they have really good reason to show reverence to Lama Zopa. Why? Because he is worthy of respect, he is worthy of hospitality, he is patient, he is kind, he is non-sectarian, he is most devoted, he is very, very dedicated practitioner, he is very true to his discipline. These are the qualities of sangha. Whether such individuals have realized the path of seeing or path of meditation is not our concern. But they don't need to. Even if they have yet to reach those things, their work, their activity of propagating and providing the young monks furtherance of Dharma education and propagation of the Dharma to wide world everywhere, these are the works of the tireless sangha members. Even those sangha members may not have realized path of seeing or path of meditation yet, but how much time and energy, that entire time and energy of theirs is dedicated for the propagation of Dharma for the benefit of sentient beings. So it is the qualities of sangha that actually propagates the Dharma. Dharma does not need propagation only if people met with the Dharma. But how would people meet the Dharma? So the sangha is like the nurse. Buddha is the physician. Dharma is the medicine. Even Dharma is there, but most people don't know how to practice Dharma. They receive empowerment or they don't know what to do. So they need sangha, at least little bit, one who is a little bit more knowledgeable in that. They need to teach them. Like the nurse knows all about the medicine. She knows what medicine, what they should take, when they should take, what dose they should take. And because she knows the medicine so well, she can therefore assist others who are suffering from various illnesses to recover from the illnesses. That's why they liken the sangha as the nurses. Sangha is very dedicated to the well-being of recovery of their patients. And sentient beings are patients. They are all suffering from the diseases of selfishness and anger and ill will and jealousy and enmity and doubt and fear and anxiety and laziness. And so the sangha members teaching, sangha members like the nurses are caring for the patient who are struggling in samsara, and then teaching them the Dharma, sitting with them to do the practice, explaining them every details, giving them the teachings, empowerment, instructions, oral transmissions, teaching them, helping to refer them to higher teachers or other teachers and so on. These Sangha members have promote the Dharma's proliferation. And only when people hear the Dharma through the work of the Sangha, then do ordinary people also have the good fortune to receive and realize and understand the Dharma. So that's why when we look at the qualities of the Sangha, we have to see how much Dharma is taught and practiced and preserved and propagated. And how without the tireless works of the Sangha, how would the Dharma be taught into many different people's lives and cultures, which are very, very new to them. Most people are turning away from spirituality, full stop, and they're more advocating doubt and suspicion than devotion, faith, and dedication. But if there are Sangha members who practice dedication, who practice discipline, who practice meditation, who actually have lots of the knowledges we talked about, those three knowledges, yeah, and the three liberations, even on a conceptual level, and they are able to live harmoniously, live very simply without being very greedy, who have no great demands or wants, who are very contented, who are very respectful for others, who are always harmonizing sentient beings, and who himself or herself got very little demands, whose time and energy is totally dedicated for the propagation of Dharma. When you see the genuine tamed qualities of the Sangha by the Dharma, then people are inspired by the Sangha's conduct, by the Sangha's knowledge, by the Sangha's freedom from the suffering and what suffering they don't create, what we call liberation. The Sanghas do not instigate suffering. Sanghas don't cause suffering. Sanghas don't cause disunity. Sanghas cause mediation and try to bridge the gulf of misunderstanding between, never cause disunity and schism. But not just between Sangha, but even between two people's difficulties. A Sangha member becomes very dedicated. How can they play a role as a mediator? Mediator. I remember the word mediation and meditation. Some people thought we were having a mediation center. She came to a meditation center's opening and she said, "I'm very glad that you have a mediation center." She's the mayor. She's the mayor of the town. So yeah, that's right. She wasn't good. She wasn't wrong there. Sangha should do more mediation. I don't know whether they should do many meditation or not. Even if they do some meditation, they should be able to mediate some of their own problems and with the fellow problems. If they do that, then Sangha is promoting harmony and reconciliation and making peace. And that's why the Sanghas they say Sanghas should be worthy of respect. Sangha is straightforward, honest, and pure, and devoted, and knowledgeable, and kind, and patient, and most importantly, humble. Very important, the humble. Even if you have all the qualities, if you don't have humility, it will destroy it by the arrogance. So Sangha has to be very, very humble. Not talk about how high I am. Oh, I'm this level arhathood. I'm this level. I'm 25 years since I'm ordained. I should get a high throne. Not that kind of. Sangha should be the one who says, am I fit to sit in the end of the rank of the lowest row? Just like Zapatul used to say. He says he wanted to sit at the end of the row with the dogs, he thought. So Sangha has to have humility. The quality of Sangha has to humility.
quality of sangha has to be very, very respectful for other sanghas. Quality of sangha has to be that which always talk about the quality of others, never talk about the faults and flaws of others. And because this sangha knows that everybody's got Buddha nature, therefore he doesn't sort of forget that, and because of that his own attachment, craving are quelled and conquered. One who has quelled and conquered his own attachment and aversion, then this sangha member will have the greater capacity to propagate the quality of a sangha. Quality of sangha promotes humility, promotes generosity, promotes kindness, promotes hospitality, promotes tolerance, promotes acceptance. Where there is such sangha, where there is such sangha, you can see the quality of sangha. Doesn't matter what lineages, what tradition are, you will be inspired. This is the quality of sangha, is that when they do this, they naturally inspire. Even those non-believers will be inspired. So the sangha. So we, particularly when in Buddhism, which is so divided by language and ethnicity and tradition, it's very important that this does not cause the fragmentation of the Dharma and the Sangha. So we should always talk about the quality of the Sangha and the Buddha and the Dharma more often than about any individuals, their status, their level of education, knowledge, and like that. If there is no humility, no matter how high our academic credential he might have in the monastics or in the academic, it's pretty superfluous. I call that educational materialism, academic materialism. And Buddhism these days, everybody's trying to get doctor this, all this. When I was down at the conference this year, December in Bodh Gaya, most of the speakers are monks, but they all doctor this. They're vice chancellor of this university, a professor of this. Everybody looks at the monk a little bit much more specially than the monk, the simple monk, But actually, they're much better. They are simple monk than with a lot of status and titles and so on. Because if a monastic in robes gets up on the podium and speaks the pure Dharma, you don't need him to have a doctorate degree. You don't need him to have a professor degree. He just have to have the amazing, tamed quality of humble, gentle, contented, peaceful, serene. You can tell how good a sangha quality the person exists or shows. And very tame, very kind, very almost very timid, timid. And when it comes to Dharma, is very, very articulate. The moment he does anything, people can tell what a sangha it is, because his whole life and his manner and everything is wafting the aroma of the blessed Dharma. And this is what makes people to find hope when the sangha members live the qualities of what a sangha member does according to the Vinaya, whether they are layman or laywoman or novice or fully ordained or man or woman, it doesn't matter. Even the lay upasakas. Like in India we have these days, these days is very big. Only 60 years ago was nearly non-existent. Mahabodhi Society of India. Did you know that Mahabodhi Society of India is not started by Indians? Mahabodhi Society of India was started by a Sri Lankan upasaka. Sri Lankan man who's a layman, lay upasaka, traveled all the way from Sri Lanka on pilgrimage, and then when he realized the state of Buddhism in India, he was so shocked and so sad, and then he tried very hard, and he's the one who started the Mahabodhi Society of India. And now the Mahabodhi Society of India is a reasonably very big organization, and not only they have branches everywhere. You should see the big auditorium down in Bodh Gaya where they were hosting this big conference. So that Mahabodhi Society nowadays itself may have some monks, but it was started by a layman. His name is Dharmapala Anagarika. He's Anagarika. He's not a man, not a monk. He's just a layman. Layman, totally dedicated to it. So I don't know whether he realized arhathood or not, but it looks like what the work he did is so precious, so much a quality of sangha. Now there is a big statue of him in Sarnath. Most people go and look at him thinking that's Buddha, but that's not Buddha. Oh, this Dharma, oh, he's just the first pilgrim came and built this, renovated this place. So likewise, when you go to see in Nalanda, you will see the great memorial of Xuanzang. Xuanzang is the very amazing Chinese monk from 7th century. He likes fashion and eating, traveled from China on foot and sea, took many, many months, and studied many years in India, and then translated those texts from in Sanskrit into Chinese, and they became the great promulgator of the Dharma in the country. These are the qualities of a noble sangha. Really, when you look at that Xuanzang's life, he definitely must be an arhat and bodhisattva. There's no doubt about it. If you read his biography, which is called Journey to the West, got a few different versions, and then in Nalanda they have built this very big memorial hall, like a park in Nalanda. Most people don't know its existence, they don't go. But if you read about Nalanda, you will definitely have to go there. You go there. They have created this huge memorial, Xuanzang Memorial, by Indian government and Chinese together. And it is impressive. When you read his life and what he went through for the sake of Dharma, first to get to India, then to study in India, and finally making his way through Indonesia, because he came through one route from Silk Road, and then he returned through Indonesia back to China. When you read the biography of the likes of him, you can see the quality of sangha. Incredible. You can, whether we have to think they are emanation of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas or not, you don't need to, because they are sangha who have realized path of seeing and sure path of meditation, maybe not very far from path of normal learning. Because his legacy, how big the Chinese population is, and today, if you look at the world Buddhist population, the Chinese Buddhist population in mainland alone is considered to be 600 million. Yeah, 600 million are Buddhists. It's largely likes of work of Xuanzang and Siqing and Faxian and Kumarajiva. Kumarajiva was much earlier who translated likes of Diamond Cutter Sutra in Chinese in 2nd century, you know. So incredible pioneers, what do we call the sangha members, whether they realize the path of seeing or not, but the kind of the works and the legacy of the sangha is what makes Buddhism alive today. So therefore, in Tibetan Buddhism, it is even more so, because we elevate the teachers, sanghas, as gurus, and so we see the sangha guru as embodiment of the Buddha's mind. His knowledge we regard as embodiment of Dharma, and his physical body that exists with us like a nurse with a patient, we respect him as sangha. So therefore, I often think whether it's a people worship status of lamas and so on or not, but actually when you really look carefully, it is the triple gem in the disguise of a sangha, and then we just call it guru. So when we truly see someone who is carrying the workload of a good sangha member, which means he studies, he's humble, he's harmonious, he's unboastful, he's respectful for others, he does not cause schism, his knowledge, his meditation, his effort all seem to be worthy of respect. Then the people who get to know the individual, then they respect the Dharma. They're able to access Dharma through the existence and life and commitment of such sangha member. Even though they may not have realized the path of seeing or path of normal, path of meditation, but nevertheless they are trying their best to control control their emotions, control their karma, control their afflictions. They may not be totally free, because until you reach the path of seeing, you're never free from desire, you're never free from attachment, you're never free. You may be suppressing them on the surface, but deep down, most people are not totally free from them. But they still have not realized path of seeing, let alone path of meditation. But when we are able to see fellow sangha members lifting their weight and propagating and living by the teaching as much as any individuals can, and then we will start seeing the qualities of what a sangha, what a good genuine sangha member is doing for the sake and upliftment of the Dharma and its precious teachings. The more we see that friendship looming between us and others, either as a fellow just student or fellow practitioners or from someone we listen and learn, we all have this amazing feeling of being rich with friends. We don't feel alone. We don't feel lonely, and we don't feel as we don't have companions. We can actually develop strong friendship, strong mutual help and guidance and support and understanding when you have the qualities of a noble sangha being at least emulated in conduct, in discipline, in knowledge, in study, and commitment and practice. So this is what makes the furtherance of the teachings of the Buddha from the 2,500 years ago till today is the tireless, dedicated work of the noble sangha. And noble sangha is not just within your ethnicity, within your lineage or tradition. All the way from the southern tips of Sri Lanka to the northern shores of Japanese Isles and Korean Isles, as far as the east, as the west, as central, some of the republic in Russia, and not to mention the main Asian subcontinent. All of these places where the Dharma spread is the tireless work of the Sangha. When you think of Xuanzang, when you think of Lotsa Rinchen Zangpo from Tibet, Xuanzang from China, Huinan from also is for Chinese or Vietnam, and as well as other luminaries from Korea and Japan, and when you look at their life, how they are revered as arhats or roshis or whatever, Chan masters or Mahasiddhas or Rinpoches or Lotsawas or whatever they call it in different countries, they are all honoring the excellent and remarkable qualities of soldier of peace. You can call it soldier of peace, the Sangha. So that's why when we take refuge in the Sangha, we basically renew our friendship. We need to be kind to each other. We need to be showing respect to each other. We need to show hospitality to each other. We should be kind to each other, understanding to each other. When one does that to the other, then the other one also naturally reciprocate. When you have one or too many like that, then it becomes cause of your own family and spiritual friendship, and then we don't feel alone or difficult to be with our friends, because we always have a friend in the Dharma. And when your friendship is in the Dharma that is unsoiled by anything else, then that sangha friendship will greatly strengthen your existence and your purpose, your usefulness and benefit. So that's why the qualities of sangha is inconceivable. Even the quality of Dharma would never reach to our lap had it not been the sheer work of the lineages and their tireless sangha members, lineage holders, their supporters, and so on. So we need to therefore look at that and try to therefore rejoice the existence of sangha, their infinite qualities, inspire each other and make the Dharma so widely available, and that we can always go and drink when we're thirsty, because of the treacherous journey of samsara is so hard on the mind and the body. We often become thirsty. So when we are reading, when we are studying, when we are meditating the Dharma, we rejoice that each and every masters and lineage of our present lineages, masters, their masters, and we feel so connected and grateful to each and every one of them, because how did I get to hear and know the teachings of Buddha in the wilderness of materialism and samsara and competitiveness and self-importance? How did I get to hear the Dharma? And you feel so ever so grateful. When you have objects of gratitude, you have respect to them. When you have respect to them, then that sangha also will try better than before. Otherwise, one discourage another discourage another, then there is no one to look up to, or no one to be patient to, respectful to. When people have no one to respect to, that's where all the problem starts. So whether it is respect to our parents, respect to our family, or what other people, when we start to honor the very basic, like your preschool teacher and your high school teacher, when you remember them, he's my preschool teacher, and those who were your preschool student will remember you. She was my preschool teacher, and they will remember how small things but very important things they learned. And you wouldn't believe how much appreciation people have to their preschool teachers. And therefore in Vajrayana Buddhism, when we talk about guru devotion, they always say anyone who taught you one verse of Dharma, you should still regard them as important. So this is what they're talking about, is try to develop the respect, try to develop the friendship, and try to develop the cordiality and of relationship. When that become mutual, then the sangha promotes harmony, respect, and generosity, and sharing, and giving, and asking for help. And therefore one does not feel that I'm the only child type of thing. We have many Dharma brothers and sisters, as you all know how wonderful it is that not only we are Dharma brothers and sisters, but that we constantly rely on each other's usefulness through the mutual karmic bond that we have with the precious Dharma. And that precious Dharma came from the Buddha. Buddha realized the Dharma, and then he taught others to propagate that through creating the holy sangha. So that's why reflecting on the qualities of the three gems is not just a formality when we do the refuge, but we should always make those as a meditation. Always remember triple gem, how precious each of these three are, how preciousness of that makes each and every one of us little bit more kinder, less greedy, less angry, less childish, and less kind of negative. When we can see that, That's how positive influence of the sangha are slowly taming us in a very very incredible fashion. When you see that happening, then there is a lot of gratitude and joy. So that's why it's very important to reflect on the luminaries of the lineage masters. So we still have one more session on this topic, the qualities of the sangha, next week, and I would like to go over specific some individuals, great lineage holders and masters, and how much a big mark they have left on the land, on the history of Buddhism. So with this we'll conclude here. Thank you very much, everyone. Mahayana whatever Mahayana courage Asama Tabada de la following oh de Zamba Aja de de mere Mede Zelembo de Jeda Teba Veda no Yadanza has been Bomedding freely without generation. Thank you, everyone.